first of all, I'd like to, on behalf of the Yuma Sector Border Patrol Chief, Mr. Anthony Kravasnik, I want to extend his gratitude for inviting me to this meeting. It's very important for him, you know, to like he was saying, to inform the community about what's going on at the border. You know, a lot of people just hear bits and pieces from news outlets, and they just sometimes they selectively hear what they want to hear, and then disregard the rest. So I'm not here to express my personal opinion about what I think about what's going on at the border. I'm just going to present you with some facts, you know, and questions that you may have. I'm going to try to stick just to the facts. I'm not going to express my political or personal opinion about what I think is happening here, or whose fault it is, or what do I think we should do with things like that. So
you mean you're going to try?
I'm going to try. Goodness. Yes. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. I've been a Border Patrol agent for almost 19 and a half years now. My title is Special Operations Supervisor. Right now, I'm in charge of the program of community outreach, and that's the reason I'm here. And I'm very happy to be here. So I really enjoy doing these presentations and talking to people. So I hope you guys enjoyed the presentation I'm going to present to you today. Like I say, if you have questions after the presentation, I'll be more than happy to answer any question that I can, you know, answer. So prior to being a Border Patrol agent, I served in the Marine Corps for about 13 and a half years in active duty. I stayed another 2 years in the reservists, so I'm close to retiring. So I'm about a year shy of retiring. So I want to show you a quick video. Basically, it's going to tell you everything that we do around Yuma sector. I see cameras, and I'm sorry to tell you, you know, you cannot film this video. It has classified information on it. It has faces of agents.
Oh, filming the video.
Filming the video.
Okay, so I won't show the video.
Don't show the
Gotcha.
But it's okay to film your presentation. But
oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to show you the video.
Okay.
Sit down or set to a side,
Okay, so we can't show you the video, guys, because there's classified information.
So like I was telling you, I'm making an exception for you guys today so you guys can see what's happening. I'm going to show you some pictures and another, and you could probably take pictures of
Okay.
But the video, please don't take it. Sure. Because then usually somebody will post it online. I can get chewed out for that.
That's not going to happen here.
You might retire early.
Yes. Yeah, because actually the video has pictures of agents in operations, and it shows their faces.
Okay, gotcha.
So I'm pretty sure some of them will not be happy.
We want
Right.
to protect them.
Yes, exactly. So, also, I'm going to be able to take you on a ride to the border, probably
Yes.
half of the group at a time. So,
Yay.
so I have with you a whole harmless agreement, so you know you have to sign that whenever you go on a government agency sponsored ride or something. So, I'm going to pass it around, read it, put your initials, and then sign
I
it.
have to sign a waiver.
Do you have pens? I only have pens. All right, so I'm gonna get the video ready, and then you have time to fill and read it and fill it out. So right now,
Hey guys, I have my mule with me today.
it's called Facing the Threats at Yuma Sector. So everybody can see that well?
Yes.
It's not out of focus or anything
Nope.
like that? All right. It's my eyesight.
So just the video we can't.
The video you can.
Okay.
Just
You
keep
can probably just.
just keep the camera focused on you. We're
Sorry,
okay.
guys.
Actually, I'm going to just say to us.
Oh, okay.
So,
Okay.
but the video is, like I
Okay.
said, it has pictures, faces of agents.
Gotcha.
Mine's already put away.
Thank you. Appreciate it. So let's begin with the video.
He's gonna do pictures first, so.
This video is gonna make you ask a lot of questions. So,
No. I don't know. The gimbal's kind of wonky. Come on, gimbal. Hang on, guys. Sorry. So Vince.
Mitigating threats to national security and public safety, along with maintaining continuity of border security operations. This is Yuma Sector's daily challenge on the southwest border. 126 miles of international border with Mexico and an area of responsibility covering 181,000 square miles in parts of Arizona, Nevada, and California make up Yuma Sector.
You can get that.
Agents working in this area face significant challenges in this often hostile desert environment. Summer temperatures can exceed 120 degrees. Strong winds and sandstorms occur with little warning. Flash flooding is common during rainstorms, often turning roads agents use into dangerous rivers. Yuma Sector has 3 border patrol stations, 3 checkpoints, over 800 agents, and nearly 100 professional staff who work to coordinate intelligence and plan and support border initiatives. Strong relationships with our federal, state, county, municipal, and tribal partners have been key to our successes. Yuma Station protects 62 miles of geographically diverse international boundary, Sahara-like sand dunes, the Colorado River, agricultural fields and canals, sparse desert, urban environments, and 3 ports of entry within the border Yuma Station protects. Due to the close proximity of the border to civilian infrastructure in populated areas, Yuma Station must provide persistent coverage in its border zones to maintain control. Welton Station defends 64 miles of remote international boundary made up largely of open desert and mountain ranges. Although Welton has some pedestrian wall on its western border, most of the international boundary is only comprised of vehicle barriers. TCOs employ elaborate TTPs, including coordinated scouting networks that make groups difficult to detect and apprehend. Patrolling the Cabeza Prieta National Wildlife Refuge requires good environmental stewardship and liaison with land managers. Access to areas of the Berry and Goldwater bombing range are often restricted by military air operations. Live ordnance is dropped on 2 TAC ranges, which, believe it or not, is a favorite route for cross-border narcotics backpackers due to limited access. Camp Griff is a forward operating base manned by agents working 7-day rotations to patrol the southern and easternmost points of the sector. The Interstate 8 checkpoint is one of the busiest checkpoints in the state, inspecting over 6,000 to 10,000 vehicles a day. Blythe Station's AOR includes 172,244 square miles and covers portions of Imperial, Riverside, and San Bernardino counties in California, the La Paz and Mojave counties in Arizona, and the entire state of Nevada. Intelligence-driven operations on Interstate 10 target egress routes to Los Angeles and Phoenix, which are utilized by the TCOs. Operating 2 checkpoints, agents employ a variety of tools and resources to combat an adversary that constantly adapts its tactics and concealment methods. The Special Operations Detachment, better known as SOD, provides the Chief Patrol Agent with a specialized response capability to a variety of threats as required by operational conditions. It's a tiered response force comprised of the Border Patrol Search, Trauma, and Rescue Unit, or STAR, and the Border Patrol Tactical Unit, or TAC. Both units have their own unique, specialized training, allowing them to rapidly respond to events ranging from national disasters to issues of national security. They also serve as an enforcement branch for targeted operations. The Sector Intelligence Unit, or SIU, functions at the operational and tactical level. The unit develops intelligence, performs analysis, supports targeted enforcement, and executes integrated intelligence operations. The Operations Center, or OPCEN, fuses intelligence with operations to create a common operating picture. The OPCEN is overseen by a command and control element designed as a multi-purpose joint operations center that will co-locate various components to achieve common goals. SIU also conducts integrated counter-network operations through its Integrated Targeting Team, or ITT. With the assistance of Joint Task Force West Arizona, the ITT proactively targets and engages TCOs and their illicit networks operating from point of origin to final destination. Each station also dedicates personnel to their own ITTs to identify and target threats. In fiscal year 2005, Yuma sector was overwhelmed and only caught roughly half of its illegal border crossers. That year, it logged a staggering 138,438 apprehensions and 2,706 vehicle incursions. It was one of the busiest sectors in the nation with only 330 agents and just 5 miles of border wall. Through the Secure Fence Act and Operation Jumpstart in 2006, more than 126 miles of infrastructure, including layered walls and enforcement zones, were placed along the border. Yuma sector manpower was increased 160% to 859 agents. As a result, Yuma achieved one of the highest levels of control on the southern border, and in fiscal year 2017, apprehensions were at 12,847, with only 10 recorded vehicle incursions. Despite these advancements, Yuma sector is currently experiencing a crisis of other than Mexicans, or OTM family groups, and unaccompanied children surrendering to agents. The surge of OTMs, primarily from Guatemala, began in Yuma around 2014, and since then the numbers have skyrocketed. Yuma's fiscal year 2018 apprehension numbers were more than double in fiscal year 2017, and fiscal year 2019's numbers are pacing to more than double last year's, with no relief in sight. The logistics of processing, housing, feeding, and providing medical assistance to such massive numbers of families and children are overwhelming. Our temporary holding areas are strained to their limits while agents work tirelessly to complete case files and care for the families until they can be turned over to ICE, enforcement, and removal. These responsibilities pull agents and funding from our border security mission and divert them to this unfunded humanitarian mission. The pull for these groups is the fact that almost all of them are released into the U.S. after they are turned over to ICE ERO. It is an unfortunate situation exacerbated by legal decisions concerning how long family units and children can be detained and by backups in that silent deportation processes. Groups of OTMs are typically dropped over outdated portions of the primary wall in San Luis or brought through the Colorado River vehicle barriers by smuggling organizations who own crossing rights on the Mexican border. Many family groups have been seriously injured in the process. Some of the OTMs have stories of being extorted for their life savings by the smuggling organizations and corrupt officials as they made their way up through Mexico. Many families say that they were transported and stored like livestock in inhumane conditions and sometimes raped by the smugglers. Oftentimes they are exposed to disease and scabies infestation. It is not uncommon for criminal aliens and gang members to attempt to blend in with the family groups in hopes of being released with them. Meanwhile, the smuggling organizations are raking in millions. Over the past 3 decades, the Yuma sector met its adversaries with a traditional, resource-based strategy that primarily involved balancing the right amount of technology, manpower, and infrastructure. Today's modern patrol involves focusing limited resources on identified threats in our AOR. The state-of-the-art technology has enhanced our domain awareness. Employing a robust counter-network strategy has advanced the sector's intelligence and targeting capabilities. Intelligence-driven special operations, focused on the ever-elusive leaders of the TCOs, have dealt significant blows to the adversary. While many argue about the path forward, agents continue to strengthen and sustain capabilities to mitigate, manage, and rapidly adapt to risks that affect border security. Our mission has cost us the lives of 11 brave Yuma sector agents.
Wow.
We will continue to honor agents who have died in the line of duty by patrolling, protecting, and ultimately securing our homeland. While many debate what's needed to address border security, Yuma sector agents will continue to respond to the ever-changing threats. Honor first.
That's exactly what's going on here in Yuma sector. This video was produced by the Public Affairs Office, and it's usually shown to people of government, politicians and stuff, so they can see exactly what's going on. It's not a made-up crisis like some people say. It's actually happening. I have a short. I'd like to show you a quick video. That one, I think this is.
Okay, good.
Is being released to the
Cool.
public.
We can
So
see this next one,
let me
guys.
see if I have it here. It's actually.
They didn't want to show you the video because of the agent's safety. 'Cause, yeah. Mike just came out scene.
This one you can video pretty good.
Regrésense para atrás.
We're gonna have to.
No estén haciendo eso. Mira al niño.
I will see.
Cuidado. Cuidado con el niño. Cuidado con el niño.
Oh my god. Ugh.
Regrésense. Ya viene la policía. Ya viene la policía. Ya viene la policía. Regrésense.
Ugh.
Where, is that in the corner in San Luis? Yeah, but in the corner where the fence is?
No, it's actually in. There's a water. That's where.
These are agents photographing. this,
Yes,
right?
yes, right. And you see the Mexican police on the other side, in front of him. The smugglers are right at the
Oh,
No crucen. No.
and that fence been since 40?
It was 45 by the they cut it. See, her baby's on the other side, and that's the mother right there. So she decided to leave the baby behind. In this case.
Oh my God. How could you do that? How could you fucking do that?
Did you hear that, guys? She ended up leaving the baby on the other side of the fence.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
So that's not bad,
The
right?
agents.
We believe that that wasn't her child, because I don't think a mother would.
Right.
So, and that's the point I'm gonna make, because a lot of people don't understand when we talk about family separations. They think that everybody that comes across, they're related, when in fact they're not. So And that proves the point out there. A mother will not leave
No.
a child on the other
No
side.
way. No way.
All right. So, and that's what we're seeing right now. When we talk about family separations, it's we don't know when we apprehend these people. We don't know who they are. I mean, they can claim, yeah, this is my child, but we don't know in fact that they are. So we have to determine that in fact it's who they are, who they say they are. So we have several resources. We have contact with the consulates. The papers or documents that they present, we submit it to them to make sure they're legal. A lot of them are fake. So the whole purpose of bringing a child is, like we know, is like it's like their ticket, you know.
Their passport.
Their passport.
Their passport.
Yeah.
Do you do some DNA matching sometimes?
No, unfortunately we don't do, but we try to match the documents as best as we can. And if we cannot determine that they're related to that person, like they say, and we can see it in cases where, you know, the children are timid with the people that they claim to be their parents, and they don't act like they're really a family. So that's when we start thinking, you know, they're not related. So they get separated. And that's where people get so upset, you know, because we're separating families and all that. But we're separating only the ones that we're not sure that they're in fact related. And unfortunately, some of these kids end up in homes waiting for someone to be, waiting for us to find someone who's related to them, either here in the United States or back in their country. So it's not like we just grabbing people and, oh, you go here, you go there.
So it's just based off of your own hunch or your own
Our investigations, yes.
Okay.
Yes. And most of them, like I say, some of them they do have, you know, they match the documents, they do are related, so they get to go home. You know? And that's the reason they're coming with children, because they feel like if they come with children, they're not gonna get incarcerated and sent back home. So, and what's happening right now? Yes, ma'am.
Are you seeing a higher percentage of males with a single child than you used to?
No. The
Okay.
majority are women with children. Yes.
Is there a reason that we can't charge the adult with child endangerment for bringing them across and putting them in the harm they are?
That's the reason we show these videos to the local authorities, because yes,
Okay.
if they, for example,
I would think any of them bringing a child across there in these ways should be child endangerment.
I know once they cross, I know they charge them like the smugglers that they put them in vehicles and they speed away from
Yeah.
the border. They get charged with endangerment of whoever they have in the vehicles. But yes, if a person, for example, has a criminal record or prior history of being apprehended, and he goes through the process of criminal prosecution, they can charge him with that also.
I feel like everybody who comes across claiming to be a parent with a child
Right.
should be taken for child endangerment.
Yes.
At least considered.
You would think, right, the dangers that they go through on their trip from wherever they come
wherever, yeah.
from, it can take
What kind of parent would do that?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, I'm gonna share a personal experience when I was out there in the field. Back then it wasn't like this. Back then it was actually a real border patrol agent job, like I call them, you know, where they try to hide from us, and we try to find them.
Yes.
Using flashlights and
None of this, please come get me stuff.
exactly. And we actually had to chase them. And I remember one night I came across a family, and I hear a child crying. So I go and I find this little girl behind, you know, hunching under a brush there. She was crying for her mom. So I put my flashlight on her and I said, wow, she was like 6 years old, you know, and I at that time I had a daughter who was about her age. And I just thought about it. I just don't see my daughter going through this, you know? How can they put their children through this? And believe it or not, I apprehended that family 3 times on 2 days.
Wow.
And the last time I apprehended the parents, I asked them, where's the girl? They had left it behind in the hands of a smuggler because it was being kind of like, they were having problems crossing with the children. So they decided to cross on their own and then leave the children to a smuggler so they can cross them. It was like, oh my goodness, I just couldn't believe that they did that. But nowadays it's a different story. It's, Yes, sir, I'm sorry.
I just have a question. Are the higher-ups within the Border Patrol kind of paying attention to these talking points about, oh, families being separated, so forth and so on? I mean, do they really worry about public perception like that? I mean, I work in the Department of Corrections, and believe me, every day I see people that are separated from their families for, committing crimes.
Right.
Some probably less intrusive than what these people are doing. And we have, 300 and some thousand active service members that are overseas, at any given time, away from their
families, right?
People that work on oil rigs are separated from their families. And I remember years ago, Sheriff Arpaio in Maricopa was ridiculed for putting inmates in tents. And his reply was, well, if it's good enough for our soldiers, it's good enough for them. And has the Border Patrol upper echelon ever considered approaching these public comments and media portraying them as heartless,
Well, we hear them all the time, but we know that in fact we're not doing what, they say that we're doing, like we separating families just because we want to disrupt, them coming across. The reason we're doing it is because we can either not determine that in fact they're families. We know there's a criminal aspect behind all this. There's like human trafficking, child trafficking. So when we determine that in fact these people are not related to each other, that's when we separate them. Not because we have a program that we want to use it as to distract them from coming.
But you can't put children in an adult.
And that's the reason,
Right.
yeah,
I
we
mean,
cannot.
you don't put children with their parents in the state penitentiary.
No.
So-
And that's the reason they bring their child with them.
I don't hear anybody explaining that to the public, though.
Exactly, and that's why the public, the majority of people have a misperception of what's actually family separation means. Yes, sir.
President Trump, a couple of weeks ago, said he was gonna close the border down unless there was better control down there from Mexico. Now, has Mexico truly responded to that threat or not? Can you see any difference from 2 weeks ago from now?
No. To my experience, I'm not just talking to what I see. I haven't read anything official, but what we hear and we haven't seen any effect to that. I personally worked before I did this job. My prior assignment was it was called the Mexican Liaison Unit. So I used to go down to Mexico and speak to Mexican government officials to ask them for their support, But we were just from the deep out, like
Without the more detail, nothing, right?
It's a big business. Believe it or not, I didn't want to get it there, but it's all about money here. I saw reports down in Mexico. We actually have some reliable sources. They provided us with information that they had as far as who got paid what and all that. And the people that had the most corrupt group in Mexico was the immigration office. You wonder why, right?
Yeah.
So they're the most corrupt. They were the most corrupt office, government office in Mexico. And then the second one was the Policía Federal, Federales. So, if they encounter them on their way here, the first thing they're gonna ask, where's your documents, right? And they don't have any documents, what is their next? So, all right, this is my document, $100.
You wanna buy some?
Exactly. And unfortunately, that's what's happening. And I was told personally what people down there, it's something so, it's like, it would be so difficult for somebody down there to try to actually enforce the law. Especially if it's related to immigration, because they know they're coming north. It's not gonna be a burden to the country. They know once they reach the border, they're gonna jump and then they know it's not their problem anymore. Yes, ma'am.
So how do you know that the documents that they're giving you are legit, for one, and two, like, just nosing around the border a little bit, found a lot of like children's medication packages, like drowsy medications, like Benadryls, Dramamines, Robitussin, like, and do we know if, children are being medicated before they're turning themselves over to you?
As far as being medicated, no, we don't, they don't come with anything. Basically, they don't have any medicine or anything. Their documents, it's very easy to get documents in Mexico. And in the past, they were using like fake Mexican documents when they were actually being returned to their country for the reason that if they presented a Mexican document, they were going to send back to Mexico, so they were not going to send all the way back to Guatemala or Salvador or Honduras. But then we mostly our immigration system changed again, so they began to keep the people here. So instead of sending them back, they were staying here, and that's when the wave of people started to come.
Yeah.
And this was way before Donald Trump. This is not Donald Trump's
No.
idea. This was way before him.
Yeah.
So, and this thing about family separation, it didn't start with the current president.
Right. No.
It's been going on since I've been in Border Patrol. It's just been more exposed, yes, for political points or something, whatever. But yes, to answer your question, we haven't found any cases where they're overly medicated or things like that. Their documents, we know from an intelligence office that most of them are fake. Because in Mexico, I don't know if you know, in Mexico you can go to a machine.
Yeah.
And you can type in any number. If you know somebody's information, type the number, and then they have there's a number, like a social security number for us, like a personal identification number. So if you type that in that machine, you pay 70 pesos, and it produces a birth certificate.
Wow.
Seriously, it produces a birth certificate. So when you start seeing people from the same city, from the same zip code, with the same signature, I say, how can they all be born in the same place, right? So you know they were getting this certificate from the same place. And it's not difficult with that. And sometimes they were duplicates. So, but, yes.
Maybe this question was asked, in terms of your sector here, where are the most vulnerable places, easiest places for them to cross family unit-wise?
In the river. On the river.
In the river, okay. Then if it's the river, how about night versus day? Is there a difference between
with these groups? It doesn't matter if it's day or night. If the I don't know, you caught it on the video. These zones are controlled by the criminal organizations. There are organizations down in Mexico that they still want to cross drugs and illegal aliens. So they're controlled. So it's not a fact of day or night. It's just when they can, I guess, let's say if a group from San Luis wants to cross through the river, he has to pay the ride to cross to the river. So that's the way it works. Yes.
If you receive gunfire from the Mexican side, are you allowed to return fire?
No. Unless we feel like if they're in the U.S. side and if it possesses a threat to us, yes. But if
they're on the U.S. side?
Yes, if they're on the U.S. side, yes. If they're in Mexico and we don't see where they're at, we cannot just shoot somebody at random.
But if you can see them.
If you can see them, yeah, you probably, yes. I'll be justified to shoot them. Yes, sir.
Several years back, I had heard that the community of Yuma was sympathetic to the illegal immigration issue. In other words, they sympathized with the crossers and the workers coming over and so forth, and that Yuma was sort of like a sanctuary area in general. And that was several years back. Now with this has the mood changed, or was I wrong in my earlier assessment? What is the community of Yuma's feelings on this crisis that we have in their backyard?
Nowadays, the community is very supportive of our operations here. I can feel confident of going around the city without hiding myself from being a Border Patrol agent like in other cities,
right,
where they have to wear a jacket or cover shirt or something. You don't want to be seen where you pull up your vehicle in the driveway because they're gonna go puncture your tires or break your windows or things like that. No, here in Yuma, they're very supportive. Since I've been here, I got here in 2005. I started my career in San Diego, which was totally different. We used to have demonstrations there almost every weekend at the border with people against Border Patrol operations, and we used to wear cover shirts after work, try to keep our identity, so they don't see who we wear. But here in Yuma, I feel like we're very supportive of us. I'm sorry.
Does any of your sector in the Tohono O'odham reservation area?
No, that's covered by Tucson sector.
Tucson sector, okay.
Yes.
The return to Mexico policy. So when does that start?
I think it's already in effect.
So as soon as you catch them, like if you caught them today, you can
no.
send them back.
I thought you were talking about the cancellation of that.
No.
Because it was canceled.
But wasn't it just reinstated?
Reinstated?
Yes.
Oh, okay, I wasn't.
It got reinstated.
Yesterday by the
Yeah,
Ninth
okay, I was
Circuit.
off yesterday.
Things are moving quickly.
Yeah, they move quickly. Yeah.
Yes, a day,
And
that's a
that's
lot.
another thing, it's like, how can legally we can accomplish something if they're always finding something to block it.
Yeah.
I don't know how you guys keep any morale with the garbage going on.
Actually, it's very low.
It wouldn't be for me, I can tell you.
Yes, sir.
So the MPP program, which is kind of maybe what we're referring to, the Migrant Protection Protocol,
Yes.
it was rolled out in San Ysidro, and then the question I always had is that, well, okay, you tested it there for a while, probably too long, but you didn't institute the policy, and when DHS Secretary came here to Yuma, it was really kind of, well, not surprising to me, she's gone now, but she never toured anything. She seemed to be more concerned with the migrants' welfare, the kids, than with what you guys are having to deal with on the river.
Actually, the secretary was here 3 times.
Yeah, well, 3 times.
3 times. I said, and the last week was the last time. And I think the next day that she was here, that's when she got fired.
But when she came, what did she really do?
Actually, she toured the border. She saw exactly what's the infrastructure, and she held meetings with local law enforcement and government officials. I wasn't in any of those meetings, so I don't know exactly what they discussed. But yeah, as far as I know, she even gave live news interviews right at the border. So I don't know. I think she was just frustrated of the fact that it doesn't matter what she said or we try to implement, it didn't get any traction. Yes, sir.
I have 2 questions. Back to Vince's point earlier where President Trump has said he would close down the border. People really don't understand what that means. It's not closing the border, it's closing the ports of entry, correct?
Correct.
So with what's going on now, what you're explaining, the problems in this sector, would closing the port of entry do anything for what's going on here right now?
No, it would just create chaos, I think. Because, like I was telling you, there's 2 types of operations as far as I can tell you, border patrol, border security operations. One is like we protect the border, we prevent the, terrorists and terrorist weapons from coming across our country. That's our main objective at the border. Right now, the phenomenon that we're seeing, it doesn't matter if we have a 30-foot wall or close the ports of entry, as long as there's a gap or a river where they can crawl under or cross through, they're not gonna stop coming. So that's the problem we have right now. It's a different thing.
So are you saying that the border wall is not effective?
No, it is effective as far as controlling where they're gonna enter.
Where it is,
Yes,
it's
where
effective,
it is.
right?
Yeah, I can
But
take it down to the
what's
phone.
happening right now, it doesn't matter. If it's not like, if we don't have a 100% sealed border, it's not gonna be
If they get through and find one of you guys.
If there's one hole in it, or there's some ditch under it,
All
they're
it
gonna
takes.
find it, and they're gonna cross through it, they're gonna exploit it. You saw how they were jumping over the fences, and we see that all the time. Every day they do the same thing.
My frustration was, it seems like all the fence they were building back in the open borders days, and Bush and Clinton and everybody, was stuff you could climb up. It was a beam, and they could climb it too easy. Yeah, they brag like, oh, they're climbing over, that's the problem with the fence. Well, you build the fence right, and they can't climb it. So.
Yes, sir.
When you detain a few or something, and you're at a point where you have to release them, how do you determine where you're gonna release them?
Good question.
Churches.
I'm gonna explain you the process of from the moment we catch someone, and to probably give you an idea of the process that an individual goes through. So we can only hold them in our cells for 72 hours, 3 days max. So we have to get them out of there because we're not a detention facility. We are just an administrative, center where we catch them, we process them, we determine where they're gonna go, and then we send them out to the respective areas. So when we catch them, we don't know who they are, we don't know how many times they were apprehended, we don't know if they're criminals or the first time they cross. So we have a form that we fill out in the field. We take their name, the date of birth, citizens of whatever country, and then we put some, like where they cross, time, and then we read them their rights. But that's very important. We gotta read them their rights. Believe it or not, if we don't read them their rights, if they get processed for criminal prosecution, they get
So they get the same courtesy that a citizen would.
Yes.
I don't know if that's right.
And then if we hold them in the
none of it's
session,
right.
No.
If we hold them at the session over 72 hours, we have to read them their rights again.
I thought it was 20 days or something.
I'm sorry?
I thought it was 20 days.
That's just our
kids,
station.
right?
3 days. We can only hold them for 3 days.
Well, you read them the
Sorry,
rights,
guys.
you do it in Spanish.
We do it in Spanish, yes.
But you're saying this is just for your facility here, you're not saying this is the overall policy, this is just what you.
No, that's overall policy as far as detention facilities, Border Patrol detention, Border Patrol stations. We're not a detention
Border
facility.
Patrol
Border Patrol
stations.
stations, yes.
Okay.
We're not detention facilities. We don't have the facilities to provide them with showers, hot meals, or anything like that. So they have to be out of there in 72 hours. So we process them. When we bring them to the station, you saw how crowded they are right now. So the agent's over there on the computer, writing everything on the computer, taking fingerprints, and that's when we're gonna find out who these people are with the fingerprints. So everybody has to be fingerprint. Except children under 14 years old. So everybody over 14 years old get fingerprint. So if the record shows clean and everything, it's quick. We do a case real quick. We put them on a holding facility, and they're ready to go to the Enforcement and Removal Office, which is
Phoenix,
or we have facilities in Phoenix, Eloy, Florence, so they can go to either of those places, but they're overcrowded right now. So, what's happening right now, they're getting another form. It's like a promise to return to court. A promise to appear in court. So, even that, who knows when they're gonna get a date to present themselves to the immigration hearing to determine their status and all they can remain in the United States.
Yes, so you fingerprint, you also take DNA?
I'm sorry, take what?
You take DNA also?
No.
And the ones you release, ankle breaks, no more?
not all of them.
Not all of them. Right now, Yuma, it's recently they're being released on the streets.
Yep.
And the city of Yuma was like, they were pretty much trying to find them where to place them. I heard that they were even staying in hotels.
Phoenix too. Who's paying for that?
Taxpayers.
You
What
are.
do you think?
That's a good question.
I wanna know how
Putting
you
uh,
get
them
the
in
ankle
hotels,
bracelet
guys.
contract.
Yes, ma'am.
Is there any
Putting them in
discussion
hotels.
about possibly using a chip on these individuals?
No, not that I heard.
That
would be expensive.
Raising it,
You need family separation stories.
I don't know if I have that video. Let me see if I have that video. The Border Patrol did an operation,
Yeah, they're dumping them on the streets of Phoenix too.
Yeah, anti-American League.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
simple
start.
question for you on the river. You know of plans to do anything barrier-wise along in there, or is it just
In the river?
status
Yes.
quo?
Yes, and that's what the reason I think the whole border tour started with Mr. Grant.
And what are the
It's,
plans?
like I said, I'll be honest with you. As long as there's a gap in the fence, it doesn't matter how tall or how long you build them. The problem with the immigrants from other than Mexicans is gonna continue if we don't fix our immigration laws.
Right. You gotta change the
Could you say
laws.
that again? Could you say that
I
again?
think we
I don't think we can wait 2 years.
That's kind of a, as long as it doesn't matter if you build a high fence or how long you build it. If there's a gap in it or something to crawl on it, with what we're seeing right now, the problem is not gonna stop.
But you said OTMs.
OTMs, other than Mexican.
So are you talking, in that statement, are you talking about the people from Honduras and Guatemala?
Yes.
And you're not talking about people that are coming across from Mexico in that
Well,
statement?
they're coming across from Mexico because they're crossing through Mexico.
But if-
They're not
what-
But if
Mexicans.
they're from Mexico, they don't have the same benefit as them people.
You s-
I mean, everybody that crosses illegally into the United States, if they claim asylum, they're gonna be interviewed, their cases, they're gonna have a case. Doesn't matter from which country they are. Right now, the immigration benefit that the people other than Mexican are taking advantages is that they're being released to either a family, a relative, or out in the street.
Because it's too hard to send them all the way back through
Because-
Mexico
yes.
to their country.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
With the promise that all those people are on a later date are gonna come and appear in front of an immigration judge to determine their status. Because they all have applied for asylum. And
Run 2 ways.
Yeah.
But you mentioned OTMs, will they do the same thing if they're from Mexico?
yes, if they come here and they claim credible fear and they claim asylum, yes, they have to, they go through the case, they go through the process. But, right now it's,
What we've heard is about 10% show up. What do you know of that?
10% drop of,
For their hearing after the fact, release them and then 10% actually show up.
that's a good question, because I don't have the numbers as far as how many of them get approved, and that's probably what you asking, right?
Yeah.
Has the military been of any real assistance to you, or
Yes.
is it just
Yes.
window dressing?
Well, it's actually, as far as logistical aspect of it, yes. Because
You'd have
what's
to
happening
negotiate by yourself.
this problem is pulling agents from the field, I'm lucky to be here, so I should be out there helping them. But the chief wants this information to go out, so this is one of the programs that he feels like it's important to keep. So,
Well, right now, there are thousands of people watching this right at this moment, so it's getting out there.
I suspected that.
This group here, needless to say, is pro-legal immigration. The other side is pro-illegal immigration. How many of these presentations do you have to do for a group that's on the opposite side of what our beliefs are? Are they asking to talk to you and
No,
do this
actually,
kind
no,
of presentation?
They don't want the truth.
They don't want to hear the truth. And I've been in a group where there's one or two, and they always have their questions, but we try to avoid getting any type of confrontations, I mean, we respect their opinion, we respect, but we don't get in an argument with them.
Right.
Yes, ma'am.
What can we do to help you do your job more effectively?
Doing things like this, talking to people, telling them what you're just learning today. And when you hear in the news something that you say, no, that's not true, and you know the fact, tell them what the facts are.
You're not telling us anything we didn't already know, to be honest.
And we've been kicking it for a
We've been-
while.
Because you're interested,
confirming
we're
what you thought.
interested in this.
Yeah.
I have a neighbor where we talk about it all the time. He talks about the president, the border patrol, And when then I confront him with facts, with things where about what's he blocks his head.
Oh, yeah.
Wow, it's gonna be frustrating.
It's frustrating.
You're on the ground, you know.
When they start cussing at you, you know you've already won the argument.
Exactly. And unfortunately, that's a lot of people. They don't want to accept the facts.
Oscar, when you take us in these vans, do you offer return service back to the hotel? I'm just. Round trip service.
If I had enough confidence, yes, I'll
So what you want us to do is follow you down there, and then you'll load us up in the vans in order to get a close look at.
We will stay in a common area there. Probably that place.
Okay.
I don't know if you made it over way last time you were here.
No.
Pizza Hut in San Luis.
No, we couldn't find anything.
No, we went down to the Pizza Hut area.
You're gonna show us this.
There's a parking lot, so it's right. We can stay there.
Oh, okay.
Again, from there we can go.
Okay, guys, I'm gonna log this one off.
What is less than 30 here, I think, right? Something like that.
Stay tuned. We'll be at the border soon.
So we can do that. So yeah, once they get released from our station, they get turned over to the ICRO, and then from there they're trying to find them space where to place them, and if they don't have a space, they get released. So that's what's happening right now.
So is it true that that you guys are giving pregnancy tests to the children under 14?
Yes.
And why are we not fingerprinting them? I think that would solve such.
Everybody's being fingerprinted.
Except the children.
Except children, the minors.
Why are we not fingerprinting the children?
It's against the policies. I mean, we have established policies where actually it's.
It'd be nice for you guys to be able to say, well, this particular child has had 17 different parents in the last month.
Right.
Yeah,
You know?
You can't question a child without an adult present, that kind of thing.
Probably.
So,
It's still legal.
Right.
But we're giving them pregnancy tests.
Yeah, because that's a medical.
To me, that seems a little more.
That's a medical.
Gotcha.
So I'm gonna show you.
Hear about that.
Right.
Do what you're gonna do.
For the tour that we're gonna do.
Yeah. That's some questions to ask you about.
Did you show the wall first?
Yes, I'm gonna show you just what we have right now, so you get an idea of what we're gonna see.
So they can give them a pregnancy test, but not take their fingerprints. To me, that
without the parents.
right? That just seems like it would solve so many of the problems if we had their fingerprints.
Know thine enemy. They don't care.
By the way, while we have a lull in the action, how many people are staying overnight over here, and how many are joining us for dinner tonight at 6 o'clock at Luke's Casino? Keep your hands up, please. Okay, because I gotta give a count. One, and that guy too, right? That's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Whether you're going to Luke's
So we're down
Casino
here,
with us
guys. We
tonight.
are with the Riders USA. They are the motorcycle club.
17, 18,
Very cool people.
19. Don't hold up too fast.
They're our secondary group. So I'm a member of Riders, even though I don't ride a motorcycle.
23.
So these are the Riders. These are the Riders. So everybody came up on their motorcycles.
Well, well, on there, so well.
You had the last one, right?
You gotta sign it.
I don't have that.
All right,
The
we
last
got
one,
it.
right?
What does it say?
You don't read the shifters anymore? Your government you're dealing with here, you don't read it?
No.
It's your government you're dealing with.
During President Trump's visit to Arizona, he said he would make good on his promise of building a wall across the U.S.-Mexico border. As it stands now, the Yuma sector stretches over 126 miles. 13 on Your Side spoke to Border Patrol agents and got an inside look at the Yuma sector's fencing and learned something you may not know. Take a look.
If it works, we'll use it.
In the Yuma sector, we have 6 different types of fencing, from chain link fencing to barricades. Through all the money spent to get fencing, Border Patrol worked to use existing materials they already had to save money. Not many people know this portion of the border fence It's actually material used from the Vietnam War era. It's just another way Border Patrol continues to work to save taxpayer dollars. Landing mat was used in the Vietnam War to help helicopters land in rough terrain such as jungles. After the war, Border Patrol said they had a surplus of it.
It was just military surplus, so obviously we try to be good stewards of the people's money.
After the fencing was installed, agents say the number of illegal entries went down.
In 2005, when we were the busiest, before this was 14 to 16 foot high, it was actually 8 foot high, and we had over 138,000 apprehensions. In this year alone, we had 14,000.
Well, that's the reason many would argue that putting up a wall would help assist Border Patrol agents in keeping the border secure. But naysayers ask, do we need a wall in the Yuma sector if the fencing is sufficient? Agent Fidel weighs in on the condition of Yuma sector's fencing.
As far as how much life is left in it, we'll have to see, because obviously parts of the fence are leaning a little bit or whatever, but it's still very useful, and but eventually we will have to replace it. How long? That I'm not sure.
While President Trump continues to work on fulfilling his campaign promise of building a wall, his opponents say the Yuma sector is doing just fine on its own. For now, it's in the air if the bill that would fund the border wall will pass. If it doesn't, it's possible we could face a government shutdown.
We have to close down our government. We're building that wall.
Reporting in Yuma, Janelle Confair.
No kidding.
Yeah, I want to take you to that area where you saw in the video, so you'll see some of that.
Where are you taking us? Is there a lot of dirt road there and all that?
Yes, it will be. But for the bike ride, no, it will be okay. And then
It'll be okay.
Yeah,
So everything will be the way it is.
once again, then we'll get on the road.
We're gonna park down there by the Pizza Hut area.
Yes,
So
yes.
everybody can drive there. And we need to get an address so everybody can have that Pizza Hut address, because it's gonna be a little bit funky getting down there. We might get lost.
Yeah.
Pizza Hut, San Luis?
Yes. I'm gonna guide you. It's very, very easy. We're gonna go 3 south all the way to County 19, and we're gonna turn right.
I tell you what, just so, let me see, it's 157, it's 157 right now. Can we meet you out in the parking lot and say 15 minutes?
Yes.
That way people can get.
Yeah, I'll be parking in the
squared
front
away
of
in their
our
rooms.
minivan.
Where do we turn these papers in at?
Oh yes, just turn
Your signs is with.
turn them.
You have to have a witness on each one of these.
Somebody next to you.
Somebody next to us?
Somebody have to sign as a witness.
No.
No.
Okay, so we're hitting the road.
Okay, everybody, meet
Stay tuned. We're gonna.
215 in the parking lot over here.
We're going to the border right now.